Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Camp Corona. I will be your camp counselor, DDM, Emmanuel Moss, Secretary of Shade, man of many names. What's going on, guys? I did not expect to be seeing you again this soon, but due to the current state of the world and the current state of Lysol, here we are, bitch. Welcome to Camp Corona. I just want to say, first off, this is a lot. It is a lot. Lysol. It's got the taste in my mouth. I should have sprayed for. Okay, it's a lot to deal with, but we will get through this. I know there's a lot of questions out there, a lot of things that people want to know, and guess what, bitch? I'm not a motherfucking medical professional, so I can only tell you what they say. If you want more technical information, you may want to go research that. But as always, I will give you my take and any pertinent information that I may have. I want to give a special shout out to everybody that was in the market last night. Harris Teeter and shit. And all of that. Thank you for effectively making me remember to stockpile toilet paper, because in the event that I don't, you motherfuckers will buy it all, and then when I actually need it, it won't be there. So thank you for that. Also, shout out to all of the parents that were in the market last night buying food for their badass kids, because they're going to be out of school for at least the next 2 weeks, and you got to stock up on Pop-Tarts and shit. So shout out to y'all. We got a lot to discuss. First, I want to say hi to everyone. This is a later start time than what we usually do, but I think it's working, bitch. It's Friday. Some of y'all ain't got no job right now. You ain't got shit to do. We might as well sit here together today. We're going to go over Trump's national emergency declaration tonight. We're going to also go over Andrew Gillum, bitch. I ain't see this coming. He got a whole wife and children. But we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that soon. But first, I want to address Camp Corona. Also, shout out to anyone that's in jail. I do have people who watch me that are in the correctional system. Hello to you guys. Hello to, my Countdown to Lockdown cabinet members, bitch. Hi to y'all. Also, for people in jail, at least here in Maryland, they can't get visits if you're in the infirmary. Like, they even got the jails, bitch. And even though people are like, oh, they in jail, they're still human beings, and everybody that's in jail isn't the worst person ever in life. So I think sometimes we disconnect from that. Also, jail isn't the most sanitary place, so take comfort in the fact, for those of us who are not clink, that we have the option to bleach the hell out of our apartments and almost pass out like I did, earlier this week, or go out to the grocery store and buy all this water. Let me tell you something, bitch. I do drink water. I don't want people to, because the internet goes crazy when you say you like anything other than water. Then they think you're dirty. But I drink water. But I'm going to tell you, honey, I have never bought this much motherfucking water in my life. I got gallons of water, liter water, single 20-ounce bottles of water. The only thing I didn't get was cheap water, because I know what the fuck they be doing with cheap water. They be finding lead and shit in the cheap water, some shit. It was a report on it, bitch, Google. So I got my Evians, my Coors, my Fijis, my Eternals, bitch. I even got the blue baby water, because I figured they ain't gonna do shit to the babies. But yeah, so it's a lot going on. So basically, Trump declared a national emergency today, and it was a lot. It was a lot, and I think that see, I have my computer so I can respond to you guys in real time. I'm going to try to start doing that now. So when a bitch try it in the comments, I can be like... But, Anyway, so Trump declared a state of national emergency. And, here's the thing. Had he did what he was supposed to do, made the announcement, went over, I think first off, I'm gonna do something that I really never do in these meetings, and I'm gonna say kudos. I'm gonna say kudos for him having enough sense to shut the fuck up and let the professionals talk. Kudos for having, the doctors come up, the scientists come up, even having those big companies, the Walmarts, the Walgreens, the Targets, and speak directly to what they're going to be doing to assist. So I will give her, I'm going to start off and I'm going to say kudos for that. Kudos to the fact that according to what this one doctor was saying, I got to get her name, but from what we got from the briefing today, they have been behind the scenes working on this, and I'm glad that somebody was behind the scenes working on this, because Trump effectively closed the department in the United States government that handles pandemics. He closed it. Maybe if that department wasn't closed, we probably would have had a better handle on this, but that's neither here nor there. One thing that I'm not going to do. Oh, I can see my titties. Now I can see the screen, bitch. Oh my goodness. Let me straighten that shirt out. Now that I'm now one thing I'm not going to do in these, because I feel like it's a humanitarian thing more than it is a democratic thing or a Republican thing. It's a human issue. We're all human beings. And I thought it was very distasteful. This is where I'm getting ready to get shady and read. I thought it was very distasteful to have your Vice President, Mike Pence, basically come up, say absolutely, really nothing, but give you a fucking pat on the back and a circle jerk. That's basically what he did. I thought that it was totally inappropriate. It was not the right time for that. He cannot... This is what makes him... This is why he, in my opinion, will never be considered a great president, because he can never dismiss his petty. And sometimes, I love a good read, I love a good shade. I'm a proprietor of petty. But when you have your country having states do whole quarantines, cities on lockdown, schools closing, movie theaters closings, people can't go to church and in their place of worship and things like that. This is not the time for you to talk about, well, the Democrats changed something. And we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear it. And it's incredibly inappropriate. And it's really not relevant. People don't give a fuck about who passed the bill, what happened. We just want to know, what is your plan to keep people healthy and in good condition? And that's what makes him a bad leader and a bad president. He's bad. You have to be able to distinguish between the two. Yes, Jamar, I see the benefits of having the laptop. The whole oil situation, while I do think that was smart. So basically, if you didn't watch the meeting, basically because oil prices are so low, the United States bought a shit ton of oil, crude oil, so that we'll have a stockpile of it, so that when shit go back to normal and oil prices go back up, what should happen is that it should translate that at the pump, you shouldn't see this drastic rise, because we have a shit ton of it stockpiled from when gas was really cheap. Which, from a business sense and an economy sense, I get it. I think that that's a great move. But that's not... I feel like he wasn't saying it in a sense like... Here's what he said. We got the oil at a... And I'm paraphrasing, but this is pretty much what he said. We got crude oil at a cheap rate. I mean, rates you couldn't believe. And we're stockpiling it. And this is what he literally said. We're filling it up to the top, to the brim. And I'm like... That's great, but the way that he conveyed it was like, I made this great deal, and you'll never guess what we got for oil. The way you could have said it is this. This is how you should have said it. We also have our oil reserves filled so that customers, so that United States citizens can continue, to go places that they need to go, transport things, heat their homes, things of that nature. That's what you should have said. And some may say, well, he just got to the point. But sometimes when you part of your job of being a president is being a helping hand, and also your job is slightly to massage the public. It's a lot of scared people out here. It's a lot of medical professionals who, like I said, fortunately I made a status and I thought a lot of people thought it was funny. But I said the good thing about being in Baltimore is we have Johns Hopkins. The bad thing about being in Baltimore is we have Johns Hopkins, bitch. Now, the good thing about that is this. Johns Hopkins, however you may feel about them, they on their shit. They research, they get to the root of the problem. They done already developed a coronavirus test, bitch. Okay? Their own coronavirus test. The downside is if you live in this area or you know the history of Johns Hopkins, they have not always done things on the up and up as it pertains to their research, and especially how they do their research with people of color. So that's the thing that's kind of sketchy about Hopkins if you didn't really know. I think that all in all, there are some businesses that are going to, like, if you're in the medical field, like the Targets, the Walmarts, the supermarkets, like, they are cleaning up right now. Like, make no mistake about it. They're cleaning up. So with the national emergency, I wanted to go over just a few talking points as far as what this declaration does. So walk with me here. So with the national emergency, a declaration puts FEMA, which is supporting the Health and Human Services Department and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for coronavirus response, in a position to be a coordinator. In a statement Friday, FEMA said Health and Human Services will remain the lead agency directing the federal response. So this brings FEMA out. You know how FEMA do, bitch. We remember Hurricane Katrina. Need us say more. The declaration makes more federal funds available along with supplies, personnel, and other support. FEMA Administrator Peter Gaynor told lawmakers Wednesday that the agency's warehouses are stocked with commodities across the country. So the FEMA Administrator saying, bitch, we ready. We got everything that's going to be needed. We good to go. Okay? Also, too, the emergency orders will also confer broad new authorities. Now, here's the thing. And when he announced this national emergency, it's a lot of like guidelines and rules get kind of circumvented now because this is an emergency situation. So some of the protocols, laws, procedures that health professionals would have to go through to get certain things done, they can bypass all of that now because it's a national emergency. Which that could be a good and a bad thing, because what's to say while we're handling this emergency, we're not working on something else that we know needs to be cleared, but we're taking advantage of this time. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of touch and go. So the emergency orders, he said, will also confer broad new authorities to Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar. Alex Azar will be able to waive provisions of applicable laws and regulations to give doctors, hospitals, and healthcare providers maximum flexibility to respond to the virus. That includes waivers of some federal licensing requirements, waivers to critical access limits on number of beds and length of stays, and waivers to ruling to bring additional physicians on board at certain hospitals. So basically with this, what this is saying, to translate this, if you didn't pick that up, basically they can have beds to the wall, bitch. Like a hospital, of course, with any building that's zoned. You know how you go to like a party or to like a hotel or a banquet hall, and it's like you can only have 250 people in this area per the fire marshal. That's pretty much what this is, but in a medical sense. So instead of having 100 beds, they make it fill the beds all the way back up to the gym in the hospital, whatever the hell they got in there. Basically giving them those provisions. When activated, FEMA might also help with logistics, like the transport of residents if needed, and put up temporary medical facilities. These resources could come from across federal agencies, from stocked warehouses, and through contracts. States will likely communicate what they need and where they need it. Steve Reeves, president of the union that represents FEMA workers, said that during the California wildfires, for example, FEMA came in, put up tents, set up command and control centers, and worked with state and local governments to track casualties. But during other health crises, including Zika, H1N1. Oh, bitch, I forgot about H1N1. Remember H1N1, bitch? And SARS, FEMA maintained a supporting role to Health and Human Services, and declarations were never issued in that case. None of these became as big of an outbreak as we're seeing with COVID-19. But those were examples of FEMA being in support of Health and Human Services in some way. Okay? So that's basically what this declaration does from an administrative standpoint and a healthcare policy standpoint. Basically, this opens the fucking floodgates, bitch. The floodgates, bitch. It's giving floodgate teas. Like, it's a lot. In regards to that, I think that I think this is a step in the right direction, but I'm actively cautious. As everyone should, you should always, question your government and make sure that things are done on the up and up. Also, too, additional declarations could come later, because right now we're not under a mandatory quarantine, so to speak. But depending on how things are managed, that could change. So we'll see how that works as far as that's concerned. I will say this, just on some like chill shit. Like, my Netflix diary, bitch, like, my queue is so backed up because I haven't been able to watch my shows the way that I would like to. So, bitch, we about to catch up. I got the refrigerator full. If you follow me on social media, you saw the cart, bitch, and yes, I have healthy stuff too. That was the snack run. See, when you a real bitch, you do runs, bitch. We don't just go out and panic shop. It's a method to my motherfucking madness. So the first run, we go to motherfucking Whole Foods for vegetables, greens and shit like that. You don't go to Harris Teeter and Target for vegetables. You buy your vegetables from Target? Like, really? Who does that? You go to Target for snacks, ketchup, steak sauce, shit like that. That's high everywhere else, but cheap in there. And you buy your water and shit from Target. You buy your cases of water. You don't buy no greens. Why would I buy greens from Target? Like, really? I'm offended. I'm personally offended. I really am. Honestly, that's 2 Lysol pumps, bitch. But anyway, so that's that. I'm stocked up. I hope you're stocked up. I did throw some extra bleach. I bleached the hell out of my apartment. Also, too, I want to say this. I want to bring this up because this was something that was happening on social media, and I really didn't think it was funny. Yes, A1 Steak Sauce, y'all are funny. I'm looking at y'all in these comments. Y'all are hilarious. I never get to read the comments, so this is a first. I wanted to start doing that. I always go through them sometimes after we meet, but it's fun to be in here at the same time with you guys. What's going on, Angelina? Yes, girl. 2 pumps, bitch. 2 pumps. In the building. But hey Bonnie, what's going on? But I think that, you should be prepared. I got liquor too, bitch. Because, I'm sorry. Ain't no better way than to survive a plague of liquor. But back to what I was saying. I saw some people, and I don't want to pinpoint any one community, but I noticed it a lot coming from my own people, so I was a little offended. But HIV and AIDS and COVID-19 are 2 different things. especially with COVID-19 being as deadly as it is. You have people that have Lyme disease. You have people that have HIV. You have people that have that are their immune system is compromised. You know, and I don't think it was a bad. Yes, the mask. Some of these masks don't do nothing, but can you be mad at Magic Johnson, whose immune system is compromised, for wearing a mask? I thought that was funny, but you were laughing and praising Naomi Campbell for wearing a whole hazmat suit and a mask through the airport. But you're making memes and talking about Magic Johnson like, oh, you will be good, you'll be fine. No, actually, he's one of the people that you should be worried about the most. This virus is killing older people. It's killing people with immune deficiencies, immune system deficiencies. So I thought that was in poor taste, and I didn't really like it. And it also shows how uninformed a lot of people are. If you're not really informed about a critical condition or a medical ailment, I don't think you should make funny things. Like, you shouldn't say things like that, because it's in poor taste, and quite frankly, it shows a lot about you. And you may be a cool person, but that's very ignorant. And it's no other way that I could put it. It's very ignorant. It's very insensitive, because you don't know who may be watching, or who may not choose to comment or may not say nothing that actually is going through something like that. You know, you have Crohn's disease out there. I have a bone deficiency in my bones. I have to take a lot of vitamin D and things like that. Not that that's the same thing, but you never know what people are going through. So I think it's in poor taste to do that. And I thought it was very ratchet, very unclassy. And it's not fucking funny. It's really not. And I love a good kid. I love a joke bitch. But that's not funny. And we need to do better. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, the tea, bitch. Let's get to the tea. Mother Andrew. Andrew Gillum, bitch. Andrew Gillum. Now, the good thing, here's the thing. If you don't know Andrew Gillum, Andrew Gillum, politician. He's a correspondent for CNN now, and, all of these different things. And, he's that guy. He's also the former mayor of Tallahassee, Florida. And, he was running for, I believe, governor of Florida as well. Andrew Gillum. So it's a lot that's going on with Andrew Gillum. Okay, so first off, Andrew has a whole wife and children. First off, okay? Andrew, you all on CNN doing your commentating, bitch. You supposed to be running for governor. You lost, but you ran. You was a whole mayor, and you was in the running for being a potential tap for a VP pick. So I'm going to read the story, bitch. I'm going to read the story because I got a whole background on this shit. We fitting to go the fuck in. So I'm going to just read the story. This is from the New York Times, bitch. Okay. The police, first I'm going to read the title, bitch. Andrew Gillum in Miami Beach hotel room as man overdose, police say. Bitch. The police are not pursuing criminal charges in an apparent overdose involving a friend of Mr. Gillum's, the former Democratic nominee for Florida governor. Andrew Gillum, one of the Democratic Party's fastest rising political stars, was in a Miami Beach hotel room early on Friday when emergency workers were called to treat another man suffering from a probable drug overdose, the police said. By the time the police arrived at the Mondrian South Beach shortly after midnight, paramedics had treated the man and he was in stable condition. Officers tried to speak to Mr. Gillum but were unable to due to his inebriated state, meaning, bitch, he was tore, okay? According to an incident report filed by the Miami Beach Police Department, Mr. Gillum was intoxicated and vomiting in the bathroom, according to the report. The police said they had impounded 3 small plastic bags containing suspected crystal meth. Bitch! I can't wait to break this motherfucking article down, but I'm going to finish reading. That officers saw on both the bed and the floor of the hotel room. At this time, the incident is not being investigated as a criminal matter. Mr. Gillum, 40, the former mayor of Tallahassee, is a commentator for CNN. That's not a good look for them. He about to get fired like a motherfucker. His name has occasionally surfaced as a possible running mate for the eventual Democratic presidential nominee. He leads Forward Florida, an organization he created to register voters after losing the governor's race in 2018 to Ron DeSantis by about 32,000 votes. In a statement on Friday, Mr. Gillum said he was in Miami for a wedding when first responders were called to assist one of my friends. While I had too much to drink, I want to be clear that I have never used methamphetamines, he said. I apologize to the people of Florida for the distraction this has caused our movement. I'm thankful to the incredible Miami Beach EMS team for their efforts. I will spend the next few days with my family and appreciate privacy during this time. Bitch, you better appreciate your privacy, bitch. You better spend it with your family, because your wife, I know she got some motherfucking questions. Okay, Mr. Gillum and the other man, Travis Dyson, 30, were found by Aldo Mejias, 56, a friend of Mr. Dyson's. Bitch! In a brief phone interview on Friday morning, an emotional Mr. Mejia said he got to the room shortly after 11 p.m. He was supposed to meet Mr. Dyson to go out on South Beach, but Mr. Dyson and Mr. Gillum, who Mr. Mejia said he did not know, had arrived much earlier at around 6. After Mr. Dyson let Mr. Mejias into the room, Mr. Dyson collapsed onto the bed, according to the police report. Mr. Mejias performed chest compressions on Mr. Dyson. I was seeing very shallow breathing. The other guy was passed out on the floor throwing up. Paramedics took Mr. Dyson to a hospital. He has since been released. Three pumps, bitch. So first off, you know, this is why I live my truth. I'm a very proud, out, gay black man. I'm not hiding from nobody. I'm not lying to nobody. I'm 100% honest with myself, and I'm honest with other people, because I don't want shit like this to happen. Bitch! Andrew, you one of the girls. You one of the girls, Andrew. You one of the girls. Now, here's the thing, people. Here's the thing. Now, it's a lot of pieces to this story, and a lot of people in the community, a lot of gay people, especially if you like go to parties and shit like that, you already know what this article means, bitch. I'm going to break it down simple for you, then I'm going to give you the details. Andrew Gillum has friend and or escort that he sees on regular basis. Escort comes to said run with meth because meth is a known sex drug and party drug in the scene that people use to last longer and make their sensations that much better. Prostitute comes to rum. Prostitute has too much to drink and too much drugs before him and Andrew can get to the down dirty. Mr. Mejias comes in, could be possible pimp and or just homeboy and or couple and or boyfriend of said prostitute or escort. They was fitting to do some things, but somebody got a little bit too spirited and the police had to be called, bitch. I'm going to let you digest that, then we're going to go and we're going to do an even deep dive into this. Okay? So, for those of you who don't know, because I posted an article about how crystal meth, like, there's this thing going on right now especially with white powerful men. And I want to say this correctly because I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not aiming anything, but there's this movement going on. This like thing going on where people are taking crystal meth, to have these long sex sessions and things like that. It's crazy. In some cases, they're shooting people up with heroin to have like these day-long and sometimes multi-day-long drug and sex binges. I hate to have to report on this, but this story is bringing a lot of shit to light. So BuzzFeed actually did a whole post on a whole article, which I posted maybe a couple of weeks ago. And the headline reads, "White gay men are destroying queer black lives with party and play sex and meth addiction." So basically, in some cases, you have these rich, older guys that are, luring these young, poor, in some cases, impressionable, especially in like Los Angeles and like these big entertainment hubs, men, with money and sex, but they want to shoot them up, or they want to give them drugs and like do crazy things to them. Meth, which is also commonly referred to as Tina. So if you ever hear someone saying, "Oh, he on that Tina," or it's called Tina. And it's become a thing. It's something that is not being reported on enough. It's not being talked about enough because, quite frankly, a lot of the people that are suffering and that are end up being the victims or end up dying from these things are young black gay people, and we know how society views them. So, in this Andrew Gillum case, I already know what happened. Anybody with common sense know what happened. Number one, Andrew, the first thing that you have to do is explain this to your wife. Hell, she may even know what's going on. You see, I'm going to be real with you. Everybody, some men are DL, even though I think that's severely outdated in 2020. I think that's such an archaic thing. But everybody has to come out in their own time, and I think that they should have the space to do that. However, when you have a whole family and a whole wife, bitch, that complicates things. Now, in some cases, the wife may know. She may be aware of what's going on and say, "You know what, Andrew?" Because my thing is this. Think about it. He said he was in town for a wedding or bachelor party or something like that. Why would your wife not be with you if you're going to a wedding? In some cases, maybe she know that Andrew get down or he fuck around. And it's not confirmed. Be clear. Nothing has been confirmed that Andrew Gillum is gay. But I'm saying this. I'm putting 2 + 2 together, bitch. Because ain't no way in the hell. And then to add insult to injury, because the internets and the social medias, they're going to do the research. The guy that they found that was passed out is gay. If you go on his Instagram, which I believe has been deleted as of right now, but the internet went and screenshot real quick. It's pictures of him in thongs with his ass out. Like, come on. But we have not confirmed that Andrew is one of the girls. But I know how to add. So that's the first thing you have to do. If your wife doesn't know, she's blindsided about this, that's a bigger discussion. And that's a discussion I would never want to have. But if she do know, like now she probably talks to you like, "Bitch, you were supposed to keep this cute and quiet and clean, and now you got our business in the street." Furthermore, you got to explain this shit to your kids. It's a lot. It's so much that goes into this in regards to that. And I think that you have to be aware. And Andrew, is so unfortunate. And I want to give a big fuck you to Candace Owens. Because she goes on, "Thank you to USA for, confirming this story and blah, blah, blah." And it's like, girl, shut your bad weave, blown out roots ass up. Like, your relevance is being a troll. That's what you are. You're not bringing any real change to anything, but we ain't even going to give her that much press. But anyway, it's so unfortunate that this had to go down with him. Quite frankly, I'm surprised that he was this messy, because when you're in in the public eye, the way he's in the public eye, the way he's being looked at, and also too the political ramifications from this. It does not look good. Like my thing is this, Andrew, suppose you had won that governor's seat, then it would have been even worse, because it would have said historic Governor Andrew Gillum, first black governor of Florida, or governor of Florida, whatever, found in hotel room with crystal meth and hookers. That would be even worse. I honestly feel like Andrew Gillum just put the gun to his head. I honestly feel like maybe he can write a book. That's really the next course of action. Write a book, chill out for a while, do some motivational speaking. Maybe, Andrew, but nah, bro. Like, bro, you wasn't supposed to be this messy, bro. He wasn't supposed to be this messy, bro. But it is what it is. And the part of me is this. Yes, I have to acknowledge it. But can I say that I'm happy? No. And here's why I'm not happy. Because if Andrew Gillum is gay, which I do suspect that he is, no, I do not have proof. No, I cannot say that he is for sure. But like I said, I know how to add. I've seen this story a million times. It's nowhere in the fucking world you have a man with his ass out on Instagram that is like giving you bottom teas, bitch, with another man that shows up at the room. Y'all doing crystal meth, you getting drunk. What the fuck was y'all doing crystal meth and drunk? And wasn't no women in the room, bitch? Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Okay? I just think that I'm not happy, because I feel like if we lived in a world where people did not feel the pressures of hiding who they are, because they felt like it would stifle their careers. And I'm going to say this because even as an out black male who raps and has pursued a career in entertainment, a lot of my good graces and a lot of my opportunities, I've kind of made them myself. Or just doing this webcast and these meetings with you guys, reading the book, those were self-made opportunities because I was exposed to you guys. You guys helped me get there. When I go to sit in these industry meetings and stuff like that, they don't give us these opportunities. They don't give me these opportunities because of who I am in some cases. So I can understand why some men or some people choose to stay closeted. And they choose to do these secret rendezvous. Because in some cases, it doesn't pay to be who you are. Especially if you're black and male in this country. And you got a little sugar in your tank. Sometimes it's best to keep that to yourself. And I'm just being 100 with y'all. Everybody's not going to like it. Everybody is not going to like it. And I know I'm preaching right now, but I feel like it's in my heart that somebody is learning something right now. That's why you have these instances. So you got to look at all of those things. It's a lot that goes into play with this. Now, like I said, from here, Andrew, I think it's over for you, honey. I hate to say, the only thing you can do, like I said, you can do motivational speaking, you can write your book, maybe even get like a web show, podcast, maybe even a television show, some shit like that. You have avenues, but as far as politics is concerned, you're done. Stick a fork in them, But like I said, we have to look at so many things, this crystal meth and everything that's going on with that. And I want to read you, if you can just stick with me, I want to read you an excerpt from this BuzzFeed article about, just to put in perspective, because crystal meth is something that people are not talking about, because like I said, it's such an underground thing. It's not an underground thing, but let me say this. People are talking about crystal meth, but when you talk about crystal meth, you think about the opioid crisis and you think about white folks who do crystal meth and you know, the downtrodden. Like, it's a certain way that you view it. I'm going to read a piece, not the whole thing, just a piece from this BuzzFeed article. So, the first thing is this, Ed Buck. 2 black men were found dead from meth overdoses in the LA home of Democratic donor Ed Buck. God, why is Democrat again? In a new 3-part series, young queer men of color tell BuzzFeed News how rich white men are weaponizing the drug in a culture of exploitation and abuse. So I'm going to read you an excerpt. And this is so powerful. And I think it's going to change some of your perceptions on things. It was 8 p.m. and a mile from his home when Jason Zhu realized that if he were going to survive, he would have to run. The men pursuing him, 1 on foot, 2 in a car, had begun narrowing the gap. He knew what was coming. They had already kept him in the older, wealthy white man's house for 12 hours. Okay, they had already kept him in the house for 12 hours. The homeowner was the ringleader, directing everything that would unfold, enlisting 2 black men as bait to lure Zhu, an even younger black man, to his house, injecting him with crystal methamphetamine until he began to mentally detach, then holding a pillow over his face while penetrating him. Finally, he managed to break loose, but as Zhu reached the front door, one of the men caught up in time to make a suggestion. Why don't you take the exit through the garage? At this, Zhu knew it would be the last room he would see. He fled. Then he was running, 23 years old, on a darkened street, gasping, panicking, wondering how this had happened. All he wanted was some fun, a connection, perhaps good sex, anything to forget his troubles. But instead, he was running for his life, and they were catching up. Those men, possessed by meth, smelling blood. There was one option left. He began banging on people's front doors, calling out for help. He ran from house to house, hoping his distress would be enough to elicit assistance of some kind, that at least the door will open. He kept knocking and running, hoping. No one answered. Today, Jason Zhu sits in his car in San Diego, reliving that night in 2013, relieved that he can. The story of how he survived and who kept him quiet unravels later. For now, he talks to BuzzFeed News about the wider issue, how crystal meth is spreading far beyond the party scene of the white gay community and into the lives of black and Latino queer men, and in particular, how white gay men are weaponizing meth against black men. When drugs such as meth are used to heighten and prolong sex between 2 or more men, it is known as P&P, party and play. In Europe and elsewhere, this is also referred to as chemsex. Both can also involve drugs such as GHB, the illegal anesthetic that reduces inhibitions and intensifies sexual arousal. Even in tiny doses, it can cause unconsciousness and death. But according to Zhu and others with first-hand experience, in these situations, it is the acutely stimulating effects of meth that can unleash extreme racism and violence. Zhu talks of the trauma he experienced from that incident. Some of it I haven't processed, he says before offering a glimpse into what else is there. I think that allows me not to process other things. That night was just one of many. Zhu knows that he was lucky. He escaped, but that many do not. His testimony, combined with those of a dozen queer people of color who spoke to BuzzFeed News, forms a distress signal. It reveals how innumerable queer people of color, innumerable black and Latino men are being subjected to an unimaginable cruelty by white men on meth, but their experiences and distress are never heard. News coverage has offered just a flash of this horror, but only over the last 2 years, because it is related to a powerful white man, Ed Buck. In July 2017 and January 2019, just 18 months apart, 2 black men were found dead from meth overdoses in the West Hollywood home of major Democratic donor Ed Buck. But despite Gamel Moore, 26, and Timothy Dean, 55, dying in the same circumstances in the same house from the same drug, the police did not arrest or charge Buck, the man many believe to be responsible for over 2 years. His connections to powerful figures in Los Angeles, as well as his reported $500,000 in donations to Democrats, fueled the worst suspicions that his influence and whiteness were protecting him. A groundswell of local activism sparked street protests, social media campaigns, and interviews on news channels, all predominantly by black LGBTQ advocates, chanting as one, "Arrest Ed Buck." Moore's mother published the contents of her son's journal, which included claims that Buck had forced him to inject meth multiple times. In one entry, he written that, "If it didn't hurt so bad, I'd kill myself, but I'll let Ed Buck do it for now." Still no arrest was made. Ed Buck has since been arrested. I wanted to read that. I know everybody isn't going to receive that. Some people are going to say, well, you should have left or what have you. But I wanted to read that because I feel like the Andrew Gillum scenario, whatever it is something that opens the door for me to be able to discuss a larger issue. And I wouldn't be using this platform correctly if all I did was just bash Donald Trump for your pleasure. Part of having a platform is bringing light to instances and to situations that need attention that are not getting the attention that it needs. And me being a black gay man, a member of the LGBTQ community, and a certified bitch, I need to let y'all know what's going on. And this is why when people ask me about gay marriage and why I don't go to certain venues and, why I kind of support black causes sometimes before I do gay ones, because it seems like this, and I'm going to be very honest. Once gay marriage was passed, it changed the dynamic in the gay community a lot. Because whereas before, queer people of color were needed for the numbers because we're all being denied certain, rights and things, insurance, access, things like that. Now, when you give a white gay man, he can sign the house over, he can leave his money to his lover, he can get the health insurance and all of that. Now he's just a white man who does it to white men. That whole we are all in this together shit, that went out the window. And I've seen it firsthand, in person. So I can speak to that. Some people are not going to like what I'm saying, and that is fine. But I wouldn't be doing the right thing if I didn't bring attention to it. So I just wanted to use that Andrew Gillum and put it all in perspective and drop it. I didn't even expect to get this deep tonight. But as I looked into this Andrew Gillum situation, I felt the need to speak on that. Because a lot of times, and this is why I tell black people, like, oh, y'all and this lifestyle shit and all that. Honey, we are black first. When I walk down the street, I'm a black man first. I'm a big black man first. Okay? So we experience, even on the LGBTQ side of things, we experience the same things that you experience because we're still black people. And that's something that people need to understand. You know what I'm saying? I think that's very important. But with that being said, I'm not going to keep you guys. Not to mention my phone is dying. But as things develop, I'll check in. We'll see. We're all in this together. I'll be sharing my Netflix diaries with you guys on the social medias. We can discuss a few things. If you haven't watched Queen Sono, go ahead and watch that. Oh my God, I live. I'm watching the show Toy Boy on Netflix right now. It's kind of like, it's a lot, but it's cool. But I'll be checking in with you guys if we have anything. The debate's supposed to happen on Sunday. We'll see. But You guys stay tuned. I hope you have a great evening. Enjoy your Friday and your weekend for what it's worth. You can't go to the movies, bitch. You can't go to a party, bitch. You can't do shit. You might as well watch TV and get booed up. So y'all have a good evening. Be blessed.